Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters, Zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. So it's a cloudy day today. We got all kinds of stuff going on actually in the garden. The garden renovation is underway. The weather is not exactly cooperating. It kind of was hot and dry and hot and dry, and then all of a sudden got real cold. Well, not real cold, but cold and more impactful, snowy and rainy. So that is difficult. That's difficult to deal with, but it's okay. We're only a few days away from the garden is mostly cleared out. Everything is cleared out, and we are going to be fermenting the final things on Sunday, and then we're going to probably till up the whole garden and build the boxes, build the beds, and shovel a bunch of stuff into there, soil into there, and then plant the garlic. We still haven't planted garlic, guys, but guess what? It's fine. It's totally fine. I've planted it before all the way into December. It just doesn't really matter. At this point, it's not going to grow up above soil, but it will put down roots. It will definitely put down roots at this point. So from now, it really doesn't matter all that much, but you want to get it in as soon as possible. This is ridiculously late. If next year, I will have the garlic already in by about Halloween, give or take, for best results. Yeah, but I've planted it too early, the garlic, where it will grow too tall. And then if we have a harsh winter, that tall thing, it kind of desiccates. It acts like a wick. And if it gets really cold without a snow cover, then I've had it just kill the bulbs because it will like pull all the moisture out of it. But we haven't had a winter like that in a while. So I don't know. We'll see. And we're already into Thanksgiving time, and the weather is still just mild. So, okay, guys, let's see who's here. Let me know where you're viewing from. Let me do the sound check. Beef liver. What did I say? So, let's see, guys. What are you talking about? Shawnee Groves says, same, just reflecting on what produced, what wasn't worth it. Have to get seed order figured out, then map it out. I like it. Very proactive right there. This season isn't even really complete yet, and already planning for next season. I like it. And I can't say that I haven't been doing the same. Yeah. You see? Just planning out the different garden beds in my own garden. And this is kind of what we do. Like when you guys call for when we do an hour-long consultation, we kind of map out this is one thing we can do. We can map out your garden and say, okay, what do you want to grow here? And then most of the time people are like, they'll tell me what they want to grow. And then I'll tell them, okay, well, that's not going to work together. The timing's off, or you're going to want to produce, you want your garlic, and then you'll have a opportunity in the same bed to plant something for the fall crops, such as the Brussels sprouts or the fall cabbages, or you could do a run of bush green beans and then plant garlic again there. All kinds of stuff. So it's good to be proactive, yes. But at the same time, my philosophy is always just wait a little bit, though, especially in the springtime. It's better to just wait a little bit longer than getting out there real fast and having to cover everything and everything's struggling for a long time because it's cold. So, yes. Hello, Eden 3D. Good morning. Jason Hetty, yes. Says, planting my garlic tomorrow. German white in half the bed and an unknown variety I grew last year. Yes. You know, I have because garlic is really one of the most important crops for me. And it's one, because I use it almost every dish, pretty much every day. Garlic and onions. And so they're very, very important to me. But garlic in particular, because one, it's medicine food, of course. Anyone that knows about this kind of thing knows that already. But also, two, because it is... okay, good. Two, because it is very, very expensive. Okay, I just bought some seed garlic, trying out this different variety, and it was $100, including shipping. $100 for these 2 little bags of garlic like that. So, oh man. But yeah, so we tried, you guys sent me all different kinds of garlics last year, which was awesome. I appreciate that. And I tried out so many different varieties, and I try each one raw. I try it raw, a sliver, bite it and eat it just like that. That's how you can tell. For me, that's the only way you can really tell the difference. You can't cook it in something and expect it to tell the difference. There's too many other things going on. So I did that, and many of the garlics you couldn't really tell a difference. You couldn't tell much of a difference. But you can tell there's a distinct spectrum of really strong, potent garlic flavor and just kind of a mild sort of light hints of garlic, maybe onions, as well as, garlic chives, something else. And then there's also subspectrums within that, because some of them can have really intense garlic flavor, but not that spicy garlic that is almost like burns your mouth. Whereas others can have not really a intense garlic flavor, but a spicy, like kind of burning your mouth. So it's wonderful to get to learn and experiment with so many different kinds. But here in just a few years, we'll be settled on the kinds that we're growing. But yes, thank you guys for doing the sound check. Beef liver is what I said, yes. And since you mention it, I just had to finish my beef liver before, because I was trying to finish it, but I don't want to disrespect it by just shoveling it down. But I want to show you guys, beef liver warning coming up. Okay, so any of you guys that are grossed out by it, go ahead and look away for just a minute. I'm going to talk about it, or two. But I just want to show you guys, because I'm always recommending raw beef liver to everybody, because it's the most nutrient-dense superfood that you can get. And it's done wonders in my life since I began this. And so I'm always recommending to people the raw beef liver. Get it in your life. So I just want to show you that I'm not just talking about it. I'm about it. So I eat the raw beef liver. I like to do it a half pound at a time. Like twice a week, maybe even once a week, because it's a huge dose of vitamins and minerals. But so here's what we do, okay? This is just raw beef liver with some maple syrup and a little bit of sea salt in there. And then we're going to take a sip of the raw milk that is about half milk and half cream. Guys, nutrient density has entered the building. Man, see, it's a wonderful experience. It is a wonderful experience. I used to do it with water. Since I switched to doing the raw milk with the cream, about half milk and half cream, the whole experience is just so enjoyable. I can't even get over it, because the maple syrup and the sea salt and the taste of the blood, all of it combines to really make like a rich, it's just amazing. So I've been doing this for several years now, maybe 4 years now, 3 years. And it's just amazing. I recommend it to everybody because of how the nutrients in your life, your body will know. Your body will say, wow, because of the B vitamins, all the B vitamins that you need in huge quantities, the vitamin A, the vitamin E, the iron. It's got heme iron in it, which is a very absorbable form of iron. Yeah, much more absorbable than supplements ever could be. So let me just finish it real quick. You see the raw milk and the cream, super thick. All right, last time, then we'll stop, okay? Man, I just can't even, my body's like, oh, thank you. Thank you. This is just wonderful. This is exactly what we wanted. Because we just had a nice, intense kettlebell workout this morning. And after you pump the iron, you really need some good. So a half pound of the beef liver has got like 40 grams of protein in it. Okay. So let me just, because I asked my friend ChatGPT, what I said, give me the nutritional breakdown of a half pound of beef liver. Says, okay, 260 calories, 40 grams of protein, 9 grams of fat, and there's 50,000 IU of vitamin A, almost 1,000% of your daily value. That's why I don't take it all the time, because it's so high in vitamin A. Vitamin B12, 70, so it's got 1,000% of your daily value of B12. It's got B2, 350%. Folate, 100%. Iron, heme iron, okay, 45% of your daily value. It's got 1,000% of your daily value of copper, 45% of your daily value of zinc, which is very tough to get, but very important, especially for men. So it's loaded with all different kinds of vitamins and minerals. So highly recommend you guys get on the beef liver train. So let's see. Jason Hetty says, Nate, how much do you pay for a gallon of raw milk? I just went to my local Amish store and it's up to $11 a gallon here. You're in Indiana, right? I'm remembering that right. Yes. And so there is in all of Indiana, it's illegal to sell raw milk. So you have to be part of a herd share. So you have to, but it's not illegal for them to board my my cow. So I purchase a section of a cow every year, of a living cow, a section of the herd, and I just pay the Amish to take care of it for me. Do you understand how we do it? And it is now $8 a gallon here but it's just a boarding fee. We don't actually buy the milk. You understand? So it's it's all kind of a joke, but it's not at the same time. So 11, that's expensive, but well worth it. Well worth it. No problem. It's Taylor Reindl says, I'm craving raw milk. Too hard to acquire it in Colorado. Check up getrawmilk.com. Remember that website, getrawmilk.com. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. And they will put you in the right direction. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I got a couple of donations here. Thank you guys. Nancy Dewald, thank you very much, my friend. $10 via Cash App. Says, good to see you. Thank you. It's good to know that you're here. Thank you for the contribution. And I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Definitely. We're about to go to the Thanksgiving meal tonight. So that's going to be fun. I'm making stewed collard greens. If you guys follow me on Instagram, then you already know that because I posted it to my story. I post a lot of things that I'm doing currently to the story on Instagram. But we are doing the world's greatest collard greens. Now, around here, they're not really a thing. People don't eat collard greens here. And so they kind of look at it and what is that? And so even though there's like 50 people there, the collard greens hardly get touched. They don't know how divine it is. But my cousin who's hosting it, she really likes the collard greens a lot. So I make a huge batch and I bring it anyways, and she can freeze it and eat it throughout the year. So we do it that way. Peter Vretas, $10 via PayPal. Thank you, my friend. Says, the sound clicking may be a bad ground. Sending Viking power vibes your way from Willoughby, Ohio. Thank you, my friend. And, you know, like I said, I've had to take a break thinking about the sound clicking because I've changed the cable, I've changed the mic, I've changed the streaming software, I've changed every single thing. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to leave it for now. I wish YouTube hadn't taken away the landscape mode. That's the only reason we had to do this anyways. Remember, for 2 years, it was working just fine. But then YouTube says, no, you got to do it this way because we want to compete with TikTok and Instagram. So you can only do live streams this way now. Okay, well, you just have to adjust and adapt, unfortunately. So, So, okay, Jason Hetty. Yeah, definitely. Indiana. That's right. Spawn Viking says $14 a gallon in Western North Dakota. Wow. Okay, Jason, mine is labeled as pet food, not for human consumption. That's a good idea as well, of course. Ooh, Ginny and McDonald, $6 a gallon in Southwest Virginia, boarding fee. All right. Wow. Let's see. Cole says $10 a gallon close to me in Southwest Iowa. Ooh. Let's see here. Teats Treats, don't worry. Don't worry. Everybody that wants stickers is getting them. It's been a little congested here lately as far as activities that I'm doing. So I haven't gotten around to sending out the stickers, but I will. Don't worry. Everyone who's already sent the envelope or the request is getting the OG stickers. I got a stack of stickers like that. The new ones that are coming will be definitely different. So maybe hold on to the OG ones that you'll be getting. And because, you know, those will be worth something someday, okay? Well, they already are. Let's see. Shawnee Gross says, since you're doing raised beds in 2025, will your pathways be living? If so, is it just grass or a blend of clovers and other plants? You know, in a small garden, in a small garden, got him. My experience with living pathways is that there's too much traffic. There's just too much traffic on them. So my pathways are almost living anyways because because I plant flowers all along the pathway. There's calendula mostly because calendula are super hardy. You can stomp all over them and they just grow right back. Now, as far as actual like living paths of like a Dutch white clover or something, I will not be doing that here because there's too much traffic. Nothing can grow. Where I walk in between these, nothing grows. So I will be doing straw. I will be doing straw because, one, I like the properties of the straw. It breaks down easily. And like what I'm doing right now out in the garden is that as I'm harvesting everything, I'm hot composting the whole garden. So all of the big Brussels sprout plants that are left over, the cabbage leaves, all the beets that didn't make it, some of them, you know, there's still plenty to harvest, but there's other stuff that's out there, the tomatoes and all that kind of stuff. So I layer that stuff in these big bins with the straw from the pathways. So I'm just raking the straw out that's already got the good microbes in it. It's already starting to break down, full of mycelium and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm taking that and put that into the compost. So the whole garden basically is fitting into 3 of these 300-gallon compost circles that I've got. So I'm developing this system. So it's a system. So I can show you guys a video and I can promote the system. And it's working really good so far. Real good. I started at midsummer and we've already got, 55 gallons or maybe even 100 gallons of high quality compost. So yes, so I will be doing the straw. Now, I will not be doing wood chips in the path. Wood chips are, in my experience, just too difficult to work with. As far as you can't remove them, like they're a long time. So there's one pathway that I have back here that was wood chips when I first started this garden, I think 5 years ago here. It was wood chips and it's still there. It's still just wood chips. It's not, it's started to break down and stuff, but you dig under there and there's still that many straight up wood chips before you even get to anything like soil, So I'm just not a huge fan of wood chips. But that being said, we will be doing at the land, when we get the land and all of that happens, there will be a straight up back to Eden garden that is just wood chips, because I want to really test this out, and to really experiment and to see. But one of the first things that we'll do when we get the land is lay the wood chips out and then let them decompose for several years before even thinking about planting into them. That is definitely my direct experience. So that's a long way to answer that question, but they will be straw because it's easiest to work with and I can compost it all at the end of the season. Nice. Well, that's good. Good. Donald Hughes says, brought FAA into the house, put in my computer/camera room, told wife it was empty for storage. Wish me luck. good luck. You better not have a dog or anything that knocks it over. You're going to be in trouble. So what? Maney Edits says $18 a gallon in Northern California, Central Valley. Well, that's not all that surprising, actually. Things in California were just unbelievable. Even when I was living there, it was just unbelievable. I mean, so yeah, it is. $18 a gallon. Wow. Still worth it, though. Still worth it. I mean, you can't really put a price on the health. You can't really put a price on it. That's why the raw beef liver, the raw milk and the cream and all the stuff, the time it takes to make all these ferments, which I'm about to show you guys, well worth it. Lisa Brown, you know what? Don't worry about sending an envelope. If you want the OG sticker, just send me a request. Send me an email, preferably through like Instagram. So send me something through Instagram, because that's an easy platform, easier. And it will remind me of stuff, because I get like a lot of emails and stuff. But, Nemesis says, why not use hemp mulch? Yeah, well, there is no hemp farm around here, and I'm not growing hemp. So straw is $3 a bale around here. Okay, not much. Or maybe it's $4. I forget. But pretty cheap. Yeah. Yes, Brian Aries says, the ginger looked great. Thanks for sharing. I was glad to hear that. There were several ways to preserve the ginger. Yes, ginger, when you grow it yourself, he's talking about probably my Instagram posts. It might have been a short on YouTube as well, but the ginger, the homegrown ginger, is so much better than anything you can get from the store. And it's so much more tender, and the skin is so much thinner. But the thing is, it doesn't store long at all. I mean, a couple weeks in the fridge, a month maximum, and it's pretty much already got mold growing on it after a month. So the best way that I'm finding to store it is to ferment it, guys. Look at this fermented ginger. And I just use the Vitamixer to liquefy it, and then I add the sauerkraut brine, just a small amount of the sauerkraut brine, to start the fermentation process. We add the appropriate amount of sea salt. That's it. It's just salt and ginger and a tiny dash of the brine to start the process. And so far, it's been wonderful. I mean, it's nice and tangy and smells like wonderful ginger. And when I go to use it, I just can scoop it and then boom. And for like a stir fry or something, and it's all already chopped up. You don't have to tediously chop up a bunch of stuff like you otherwise would. Yeah. Don Padawan, anyone have a good intermediate day onion recommendation? The Australian brown is by far my favorite intermediate day onion. Very good. It'll store all winter. Definitely. So Shawnee Grows says, would putting straw in a pathway with mounded beds help with drainage? My friend's garden has so much water in the paths this time of year. Yes, and see, that is one of the issues that will be here as well, because we've got heavy clay soil here. And so I'm actually going to till up the entire garden, to till it real good, and then put the beds down, put the actual plywood structure, and I'll make videos showing all this. This is just a brief summary. I'll put the plywood beds down, make sure that they're all positioned right, and then I will shovel soil out of the pathways into the beds. And so that's going to recess the pathways and increase the beds. And then I'm going to put thick layers of straw in the pathways. And that really helps with drainage, definitely. Because though I've been complaining about lack of rain, we're in northern Indiana, so we can get anything at any time. And so next year we could have just tons of rain all summer long, and it could be super wet, and all the fields could be just, flooded out. That can happen too. So that's why I'm not doing like sunken beds or something that you would do in an actual desert, or something that you would do in a place where you actually for sure don't get rain, like Northern California in the summertime. They for sure aren't getting a drop of rain. You know, that's their ecosystem. Everything dies and turns brown, the fires and all that stuff. But then the rains come back and it's rain nonstop for like 6 months, where everything starts to grow and turn green again. It's really wonderful. So there you can count on it a little bit more. Here you cannot count on it. So the beds that we're building with that system are the maximum resilience. The maximum resilience will be in those beds. Yeah. Yes. Taylor Reindl says, still need to start my FAA. Hope it's not too late. Yes, it is not too late. The best time to start it is, 6 months ago. But the next best time is today. Yeah? Taylor Reindl, thank you very much. Wow, $50. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. Says, what's the best way to use leaves if you have a limited amount? Compost, mulch, etc. Okay, so if you have a limited amount, how much are we talking? And how big is your garden space? And if you have a limited amount of leaves, well, how are you making compost for the garden? So I recommend at the end of the year to not just leave everything. You want to use that, okay? I mean, one system of if you have like a lot of land and you have other ways that you're fertilizing, techniques will be different, all right? But I'm talking for the small scale home garden that has their annuals and that is going to be real high intensity gardening. Then you don't just leave that stuff sitting over the winter. I know it's like, oh, but we want the bugs and their cocoons and all that stuff. I know, but they just find a way anyways. They just find a way anyways. I got thousands of praying mantises, without leaving stuff like that, because you want to utilize that. You need to get that stuff up while it's still somewhat green and start composting it. Don't let them nutrients just kind of dissolve and evaporate. So if you have a limited amount, then make a compost pile layering the garden waste with leaves. Garden waste, leaves, garden waste, leaves. And then turn that several times over the winter. That would be the ideal thing. Yeah, that'd be the best way to use them. Now, the second best way would be in as mulch, because things don't grow up through leaves very easily unless you chop them up. But if you think about it, the leaves is part of the tree's survival mechanism, a big part of it. That's why people have got super unhealthy trees, because it's the moment leaves fall, they got to rake all the leaves away and take them away so that they can manicure their little grass lawn. But actually, the tree is mining minerals for itself, and it's storing them in the leaves, and then they fall to the ground. Now, immediately, they start to break down. They do several things. One, they start to break down and become nutrients again for the microorganisms and for the worm castings that is produced and for all the good stuff that happens with that decomposition process. But another thing it does is that every year that they allow that the leaves fall, it smothers out the competition. It smothers out, there's not a bunch of stuff growing underneath trees. One, because of the sunlight, yes, but two, because the leaves will smother everything out because of the way that they layer on top of each other, whole leaves. So they're a really good source. That's why so many people I've talked to, when I do consultations with them or something, and they're like, yeah, I didn't have success this year with my garlic. I did it just like you said. I planted the garlic and then I put, 8 inches of mulch on top, and then nothing ever came up. And I'm like, okay, so what'd you use as mulch? Well, I didn't use straw like you did. I used leaves. Okay, there's your problem, because they can't come up through. If you put 8 inches of leaves on top of something, there's hardly anything that's going to come up through that, except like established bamboo, or maybe the walking onions might, some of them. But most things can't. They interlock and it forms a thick mat, and so they can't just explode and push up through that. So that's one reason. You see on Instagram and stuff like that, all these little memes that are like, if you just leave the leaves, they turn into soil, right? And they don't harm anything. And that's partly true, but then they'll show a picture of like a lawn. And so if your goal, for whatever reason, is to have a lawn, sorry, Big West, but if your goal is to have a lawn, then you don't want leaves on the lawn. It will kill the grass. It will, because that's what it's designed to do, is smother out the competition. That's what leaves do. So if you chop them up, then they do become a good fertilizer. Yes, very good. But anyways, so that's what I would do with the small amount of leaves is one, compost them, use those minerals and nutrients, turn them back into the soil. But you will need, if you want to actually compost them, you will need a decent amount of nitrogen. Yeah, because remember, guys, in a hot compost pile, the engine of decomposition is bacteria, and the gasoline for that engine is nitrogen. And so the more nitrogen, the faster everything will work and break down. Super fast. That's why if you take a fresh pile of grass clippings and put them in a mound, literally within hours, it will become so hot that it will scald. It will give you second or even third degree, I don't know what that is, but really intense burns on your hand if you put your hand in the middle of that pile. That's the microbial activity at work. Now, if you take that same pile of grass clippings, very rich in nitrogen, and layer it with leaves, then that nitrogen helps to break down everything else faster. Yeah. So that is that's my opinion on that. Guys, guess what? Next week, Tony from Simplified Gardening is going to do a joint live with me somehow. So I got to get it figured out exactly how to do that. Obviously, I think this streaming software can do it because that's how we do it on the Urban Gardeners channel. So he's going to come. He's agreed next week to come on to the channel. So I'm going to send him a list of things that we might potentially talk about, just so he's mentally prepared. And what are some things that you would like to see talk about with Tony from Simplified Gardening? Yeah, he's been doing it since 2007. I mean, he's been doing the YouTube thing since 2007. Yeah. I know. Eden 3D says, Taylor Reindl, super chatting like a boss. Yes. $50 holla. Thank you, my friend. So Queen RB says, still trying to master growing ginger outside. Too hot and dry. Intense sun. Tried under tomato plant this past year, not so good. Yeah, so they need the shadiest spot in the garden, and they need consistent moisture, and they need super huge amounts of nutrients. For whatever reason, ginger is the hungriest plant in the garden. I mean, I've told you guys before, but I have I have a 30-gallon grow pots with soilless growing medium inside of it, peat and perlite. And I'm pretty sure I put 2 quarts of the Viking granular nutrients, 2 liters, which is a lot in that this year. Because last year I put 1, which is already a lot for a 30-gallon grow bag. This year I put 2 just to see. And it just grew. I mean, it was amazing. It was just super huge and lush. Look at my YouTube short I made, or look at the Instagram reel I made showing you. And we got so much of that. I mean, off of just one little 30-gallon grow pot. That's all we had. So the more you feed it, the more it loves. Yeah. Ooh, Megan McGuire, I like that. Says, I keep thinking that the land you buy could be called One Source Farm. Just an idea. I'm super excited about the future. Yes, me too. Definitely. Yes, One Source Farm. I like that. Yeah. You know, we will be growing everything on the land, definitely. But I can already tell a big proponent of that, or a big aspect of that, is going to be scaling your herds and your flocks appropriately. So many people get way too extended. They extend themselves way too thin because they got these big ideas. So they want to get so many more cattle than their land can actually sustain. So then they got to bring in tons of feed, and then they get huge amounts of chickens and stuff, and ducks and turkeys and everything, and they can't grow all that food, and so they just bringing in pallets of feed, which that's one way to do it. You know, that's one way to do it. But the way that I'm more interested in exploring and teaching and learning about is the way where we are growing everything there, you know, so we will learn a lot. But the learning curve, like I've said before, imagine trying to, if somebody wants to learn something. I was having this discussion with my friend in Tennessee. He builds barns for a living. And I was like, imagine if you wanted to teach someone how to build barns, to be on your crew. All right. Now, imagine trying to teach someone to build barns that has no idea, has never touched a drill, has no idea about working a hammer or saw or measurements or any square, none of that kind of stuff. Now, think of how long and how much trial and error they're going to have to go through, how hard that's going to be for them to learn quickly how to build the barns, as opposed to someone that already had never built a barn, but was already solid in carpentry, already had the use of tools, saws, already had all that stuff, but never did that exact thing. But it will be so much easier in one day or a few days, in a much smaller amount of time. That learning curve will be dramatically shortened because of their past experience. So it will be the same with us on the land, of course. Dramatically shortened learning experience, but learning all kinds of new stuff. We'll be taking you guys along the whole time. So let me get caught up in the chat. Oh man, see, I'm way, way, way behind in the chat. Way behind. Yes, Simplified Gardening. This is the channel, guys. Next week he's going to be on the show. So let us know some things that you want us to talk about. Yes? Probably some potato questions. If you got potato questions, I would say the potato master will be on the channel. We could go that far as to say that, yeah? What's up, Jay Dixon? Yes. Yes, glad to see you'll be a featured guest next week. Yes, that'll be my first dual live stream. So awesome. Yeah. Oh, nice. Shawnee says, yes, I StreamYard. At the bottom, it says invite. You would copy that link and send it to your guest for him to join you on screen. It's that easy? That is exciting, because I thought, oh, okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to big 5-hour session of learning how to do it this summer or this week, which I would be fine doing and will do. But if it's that easy, that is wonderful. So yes, I will copy that. But guys, make sure you're here for that, okay? Stone Creek, yes, pine needles for mulching work wonders. They work wonders, and they do not break down nearly as fast because of the pine pitch. They don't break down nearly as fast. Now, but remember, guys, there's the gardening myth that mulching with pine needles will acidify the soil. Now, that is basically a myth. And the reason is because they will test soil pH under pine trees where there is pine needles. And so they will say, oh, well, see, the pine needles will make the soil very acidic. But it's actually the tree roots that is making that happen. So the tree will adjust the pH that it needs based upon what sugars it pumps into the ground. It knows what microorganisms to attract to it in order to produce, through their activity, the required pH range that it needs. So it's not actually that the pine needles will acidify the soil. And so for your plants and stuff, it kind of seems that way, but so does putting eggshells in your soil and around your plants. It seems like, well, yeah, they broke down in 1 year, but that's just because you're not seeing them anymore because they've absorbed the color of the soil. But the eggshells take years to break down into the soil, long time to break down into the soil. Much longer than people say, oh, I just sprinkle eggshells around your tomatoes and that stops the blossom end rot. That's not what happened. That's just not what happened. It's not. It's probably due to your increased watering or your increased attention that you gave to the plant, because you sprinkled the eggshells and then you watered it. Then you went back. Oh, no, okay. And you gave it more attention. And so that's probably the main culprit for your thing. So guys, I think I'm way far behind in the chat, but anyways, let's see. Teach says small 25 by 50 composting would be a great topic for me. Yes, definitely. Composting is incredibly important, and because it's the basis for our compost teas. And so that is what is, we want to grow our own. There's no compost that you can buy that is superior to good quality stuff that you make yourself. Yeah. It's not guaranteed. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so Look to Nature says you will need 6 khaki Campbell ducks just to supply your daily morning 6-pack of eggs. Khakis will be a must. Nice. Okay, good to know. Well, one thing that I recently learned is that I definitely, because my friend has a flock of many different kinds of chickens. Many, I mean, numerous, probably 100 chickens or more, and dozens of different kinds. I don't even know. But out of all of them, so I got the chance to really look at them and see them. The Buff Orpington is the one that, to me, I will be wanting for sure. Because out of all the different chickens, it just looked the most appetizing for whatever reason. To me, it was like my body was saying, ooh, I want to eat that thing. I want to eat that. That's what my body was saying. All the other ones was like, it's kind of like a bird, kind of like looked a little dirty and stuff like that. But that Buff Orpington, I was like, oh, I could fry that thing up, no doubt. So that's the kind that I think that I will start with. Yeah. Thank you, Jay. Yes, I will be doing that. I will be doing that, practicing, definitely, beyond any doubt. VA Green, pH has to be one of the most misunderstood things in gardening. It absolutely is, because if you contact your county extension office, which is the very first thing that all conventional, old school, if you're a certified master gardener, you've went through the programming from your university or whatever, then the very first thing you're going to say is, well, okay, so you're a new gardener? Okay, first thing you got to do is get your soil tested, and then you got to find out what your pH is, and you got to start adjusting your pH. And that couldn't be the worst. There couldn't be worse advice, in my experience and opinion. That is the worst. That's the opposite of what you want to start doing to the soil. But people have no concept of the pH thing. Now, if you're growing in hydroponics or soilless growing medium, it is different. It is different. Yes, to be very clear. Definitely, Big Will Dog says, plus the native soil tries to stay at its natural pH. Yes, definitely. It is like that for a reason. Simplified Gardening can certainly do composting conversation. Yes, definitely. I'll send you a list this week of things that I would like to talk about, because it'll be like structured, kind of like a little bit fast, kind of like this, so we can get a lot of good knowledge in a short amount of time. Tom Vardakas says, I always like hearing composting talk. Good. Oh, Big Will Dog says, Simplified Gardening literally wrote a book about composting. Well, there we go. Yes. So you're talking about the Buff Orpington, right? Great bird and dual use. Yes, that's why I was like, ooh, that one makes sense, because I like the eggs, I like the color, and the bird looks appetizing. So that was I go with my gut about a lot of things. I just allow whatever it is to come up, and then I can discern. And all them other ones, just another one that I liked was the Brahma. That was a nice looking bird, also dual use, nice and big. But that Buff is, going to be the first flock. Okay, Meyer Lemon says, Nate and Simplify. Composting simplified system is a major goal for me. Please discuss. Definitely. I think we're getting part of our answer here, Tony, that we're going to be talking about compost. Yeah. Teach Treats. Thank you, my friend, says my weekly contribution for entertaining knowledge. Yes. And I look forward to our consultation on Monday, 4 o'clock your time, which will be 7 o'clock my time. But hey, I'm all about it. Let's see. So Look to Nature says, my brother-in-law has to feed 3 silky chickens to match the egg count of my khakis. Nice, nice. You're talking about ducks, right? Khakis. Now, another thing that I really like about the chickens is because, when I was in the mountains and stuff and traveling, I've been a part of helping raise chickens and having chickens and stuff, but it's never fallen on my shoulders like it will then. I've never been the one to choose the things. I was just helping, So it'll be a whole different experience. But I do know that I really like duck eggs because for the really big yolk. Yeah, because I'm all about the yolk. Oops. Queen RB says, I'm a certified master gardener. All right. My instructor thought at Garden Like a Viking. She only lasted 2 years. Ooh, yeah. See? So you're saying, okay. So your instructor thought like I do and we do here and only lasted 2 years. That's not surprising because they will constantly be trying to confine you into a box. It's called County Extension Office because it is an extension of the industrial ag complex. That's my pun or whatever. But that is, so they will regurgitate the same thing. Get your soil test. That's the first thing. Get your soil tested so you know how to start manipulating the soil. And without any word on microorganisms and stuff, they start, okay, if you're deficient, and then you'll hear a lot of people talk, well, my soil was deficient in phosphorus, so I had to start getting some soft rock phosphate and adding so many tons per, this and that. That's all industrial ag, where they treat the soil like a soilless growing medium. And they have no concept that it's a living, breathing organism. The soil is not inert. It's the farthest thing from it. It's the most alive thing. It should be the most alive thing you could imagine that produces the most alive thing that you can consume so that then you feel the most alive. It's not an inert, just dead. It's not dirt. You can tell, this is my opinion, you can tell someone who's not really well versed in growing. Maybe they've been gardening for years, but they're not really a grower in their heart. And so they will refer to it as dirt. Well, we got pretty good dirt here. And so I can tell straight away, okay, yeah, industrial ag thought process. But no, it is soil. Soil is dirt is what is under your fingernails, okay? Soil is a combination of sand, silt, and clay with microbes in it. Yes, I added the with microbes part. So that is, they would constantly be trying to convert you back to the religion of industrial ag complex, of NPK farming, when the most important thing beyond all else is the microorganisms. But with that comes everything you have to do in order to facilitate high quality microorganism populations. You have to have great drainage. You can't have a stagnant, you can't have stagnation. You can't have stagnant anaerobic root zones and things like that. Okay. You also can't have your soil getting cooked and roasted by ultraviolet light. So it's got to be shaded. Yes. You also have to have high levels of organic matter because the microorganisms are always going to, let me see if I remember it right. They are a K type. There's like R and K type species, but the microorganisms are more like a K type that will expand to fill or maybe it's R, that will expand to fill the maximum capacity that is possible by the limitations of the environment, meaning they'll expand until they push up against the boundaries of how much food there is possible for them to consume. Then that's where their populations will be. Or they'll expand until all the oxygen is consumed, and then that's where their populations will have to stop. But they will always do that in every system. They will, because they can, in ideal situations, they can double every 20 minutes. If you know anything about exponential growth, that's an unthinkable amount in a very short amount of time. So they can do that. Now, that's in ideal conditions. But even if it was every day, that's still a lot. So what you really have to do is create the conditions for microorganisms to thrive. And then, yes, you can add things like the aerated compost tea, the JDOM microbial solution, and the fish fertilizers. All those homemade things are wonderful. But unless you've created the conditions for microorganisms to thrive and expand, it's not going to do much. It's going to be a temporary kind of fix. Yeah. So there's so much goes into it. What? Tom Ford, is that for real? Says, I fed cheddar cheese to my chickens and their eggs had a cheesy flavor when fried up in a pan. Is that for real? Wow. Okay, Khaki Campbell ducks. Now that is good knowledge. That is good to know, because I will also be trying to get some ducks, but I really like what the chickens can do for composting systems. We had like a chicken sort of composting system in the mountains. And so they just, the way they scratch around and they get deep into things and they mix up all of the ingredients and everything turned out to be really good. And I want to definitely explore that much further on the land in Valhalla. Simplify says, hens lay varying amounts per year. Orpington's around 280-ish. RIR, Rhode Island Red, around 340. Wow. And think like BlackRock will do around 320. And some of them, okay, wow. That is a big difference, 280 to 340. Wow. But I would... for the good look of the Orpington, the buff Orpington, I wouldn't mind. Grow All Year says, one of my 14 is a buff Orpington, definitely a fatty, only 200, 220 eggs per year compared to some breeds that do 300. Ooh, see, those are good things to take into consideration. That's a good thing to take into consideration. Yes, Simplify Gardening knows soil is living. Yes. So, let's see here. I gotta get caught up with the chat. Sorry. So, guys, let's see here. Okay, a couple of things about now we're doing tons of fermenting. Okay, so we've got the ginger that we're fermenting. We've also got the super delicious. Look at that. The kimchi that we got is super good. I really love this recipe. We got 3 huge these half gallons in the refrigerator put away. Next year, we're going to have even more, because now I really am re-enthused about the fermentation because of all the new system that we have. So guess what this is, guys? From the garden, you saw that big carrot I had last week, that big fat boy. We shredded them up and we put them into the ferments with black sesame seeds, a little bit of that sauerkraut brine, and an appropriate amount of sea salt, and some fresh ginger from the garden. And it's fermenting. Can you see the bubbles? And so this stuff is going to be really delicious. And I can already tell because I'm tasting it, I'm trying it. And the ginger is giving it a really alive sense of taste. It's just amazing. Now, another thing that we've got, if you follow my Instagram stories, then you already know this, but we've got the beet, like a beet kvass, except it's not about the brine. Although the whole thing is packed with beets and thyme. That's it. Fresh thyme, beets, and the brine. And I can already tell it's amazing. All right. So these are going to store in the refrigerator all winter. So we're going to let them ferment for about 3 weeks. And then we're going to put the lid on them and put them into the refrigerator. And one more thing we just did last night is, check this out. This is curried daikon radish ferment. So it's daikon radish, because we have you know how fat them daikon radish can get. This year I did not thin the daikon radish. It just got away from me, and I got a little bit fed up with the lack of rain and the inability to water effectively here because I didn't have drip lines. And so I kind of gave up on them, and they got really overcrowded. So we only got ones like this fat. Now, in years past, when I thin them out, we get some honking, huge, like this. like that long, just unbelievably huge. Now they don't taste as good as the smaller ones actually, but it's best to thin them out. But you can get tons of daikon in a short amount of space. But the mom computer, the ever vigilant, watchful eye of mom computer. So the here we have the curried daikon radish with some green onion. And the green onions get way more delicious and flavorful in the fall time. Once they get hit with a couple of frost, they start really getting sweet and buttery type. And how many of you know what I mean when I say buttery? When I use the word buttery to describe tons of different flavor profiles in the vegetable category. So the let's see here. The look here. So that will be the curried daikon though is gonna be delicious. I can tell it's gonna be super good. Man, it's got such a unique smell to it. I mean, super unique. And so the way that we're going to eat these things, all these ferments, because we love grilled meats, and I in particular love grilled meats, but also yes, love the grilled meats. And so it will be like potatoes or sweet potatoes and a meat of some kind, roast or grilled something, and then scoop of each ferment, just a little dollop of each ferment on the plate. And that's a great way. I used to love doing that. I got away from ferments for a couple of years, because I was getting a little bit jaded with the same recipes and the same, and I tried different recipes from different people and stuff, and they just weren't good, or they didn't really even work and stuff. And so I kind of just did my standard, I went back to just kimchi and pickles for a while, but I've since been reinvigorated with different things, a different thought process behind it. So next year I'll be coming out with, I'll make a video for each one of these things next year if they're good. So there was another ferment that I did, and it turned out to not really be all that good. So I won't be promoting that one. That's why I'm not making recipes or videos about this kind of stuff right now. So yeah. And let's see. Jay Dixon, yes, thank you for bringing that up and stuff. And no, I have no problem with Tony promoting his books and stuff. I'm all about help. I'm all about it. Go ahead. I mean, seriously, it's all about, it's the community. The way I see it, I feel like it's a community, and so we help each other out and we promote each other, because that's what it's all about. So no problem at all with that, because I know how much work it is to write a book. Man, it's had to take a backseat ride because there's just so many other things going on. So Tony, how long this will be a question for next week maybe, but how long were you gardening before you started writing books? Because how long were you doing YouTube before you started writing books and stuff? Because there's so many other things. I still got to get a website happening that I got to build from the ground up. Yes. Thumbs up. Maybe some fireworks. Yes. So I still got to get that happening. Got to get merch happening. I'm still working with still got some things going on with the logo. I got the fertilizers happening, which we're going to mix up a big batch of it this upcoming week. And I got to get stickers for all of that. And I got to get the certification. I got to get a license to sell fertilizer and all this stuff, and got to get all these. Then I got to send it off for analysis. So many things. And then to think, oh, we'll just write a book on top of all that. I'm like, huh. So I've got the book all like laid out and everything, but as my knowledge and experience grows and changes like every day, I'm constantly learning and experimenting. The book, the whole concept of what I would want to produce as a book, or the first of many books, is constantly changing as well. So it's like, man, I will actually kind of like to talk about that next week, because I would like to literally ask you questions about that. So it all works out. It all works out. But yes, Tony, thank you for being respectful, of course, of that. So, oh yeah, Meyer Lemon says Swiss chard tastes buttery in stir fries to me. Yes, Swiss chard can taste buttery. I did a stir fry, guys, and it looks like Christmas. The Swiss chard ground pork, because we got the ground beef, or we got the beef from Jerry, the cattle farmer, which was amazing. And we got this new, Jerry's got a new butcher that handles all of it. They're Amish. And I really like the way that the Amish do it. They vacuum seal everything. And to me, I prefer that. The beef livers vacuum sealed, all the meats vacuum sealed, except for the ground meat is in sleeves. But I just like it. I just like it, man. The beef is amazing. I had some of the. It's always amazing, of course, but this one to me in particular has been amazing. The sirloin. So I took some of the sirloin steaks and sliced them real thin, marinated them, and then stir fried them super fast. You know, just a minute to get just a little crisp on them, and then did it with some Swiss chard, you know, in there, and well, also I did one with bok choy with the sauce, homemade sauce. All of it's homemade, of course, from scratch, from single ingredient things. And over white rice, and just super good. That meat is so tender and so full of meat flavor. You know what I mean when I say that? So full of like meat flavor that it's not just like from steaks from the store are, you know, they're good flavor and they're great, you know, but they're not like this. This has got like that grassy, meaty flavor that you only get from pure grass-fed stuff. And because I had the butcher, you know, you get to choose how you want your cuts for the most part, or how you want the animal processed. And so the butcher, I talked to him and I said, okay, the tougher things like the arm roast and stuff like that, I've still got some from the last beef that I got. And so this time I want like the round steak and stuff. Last time I had them, you know, cut it into steaks, but it was just too tough and I didn't like it. So I had all that stuff ground this time. And so we ended up with like 150 pounds of ground, you know, but also like 200 pounds of steaks, 150 pounds of steaks, 150-ish, maybe even 200 pounds of ground. But it's more like steak burger. I mean, it's real meaty. It's not just like fall apart, you know, flimsy stuff. It's super meaty. So it's a whole different experience. I'm loving it. And that's what I will stir fry with. You can stir fry with this ground pork or this ground beef, and it tastes like steak. The texture of steak even. So oops. Okay. So yes, that is now the we also have gotten a ground or a pork, a pastured hog. Yes. So if you guys got good recipes for like pork chops and stuff like that, pork shoulder, let me know. Okay. So I got the beef through Jerry, but the other part of yes, I have a girlfriend, and so she got given a whole hog, pastured hog, and so it is. We didn't really know how to get it cut up. I mean, this is our first experience with getting a whole pastured hog, you know, cut up and processed. So her freezer's full of that. I mean, we got like 5 freezers full of meat. So we need to be getting a little generator just in case, because that is a lot of meat. And so if you guys have recipes or suggestions or links to good recipes or things that you have really tried and true for pork chops or for pork shoulder, or there's a pork, there's the bacon, the thing, it's like a flat, is it pork's, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's what you make bacon from. We got 2 of those huge blocks like that. And so, but it's like uncured and everything. So I'm going to figure out how to do it all, you know, cure it and then smoke it potentially and stuff. But I would, you know, I could use some, if you've got experience with that stuff, let me know. Okay. You can put it in the Viking Discord chat under cooking. The recipe or pictures or whatever it is, links to other videos is fine, because I got to get more versed with that. All right. Yes, it all takes time. Yes, it's true. It really does. And I consider myself a very driven person, high energy and driven. But even for me, it's like there comes a point when I'm like, okay, well, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. And I get tons of offers constantly from people wanting to do, not tribe people. I mean, sometimes, but mostly like non-tribe, like people from India and stuff like that want to help with my content. You know, they all want to help with my content, but I'm just not about that, because that's not. I have to do it all myself. You know, like the editing of your videos and stuff. That's like the language of which. That's like your style, your language and stuff. I feel like I have to be, at least for now, until we start with the land and stuff. Then I can just oversee the editing, but I'll need someone in person. I'll need like a close someone living near or something, part of the operation, you know, not like ship someone in India or something. That's just not, yeah. So there's only so much you can do. I know. That's hard to come to terms with sometimes for a person like me. Rick says, did you request the tallow too, Nate? I did request it, but the grass-fed, grass-finished cows don't have a lot of tallow. They don't have a lot of fat because, well, they're not fattened up. And so the meat doesn't have a lot of marbling in it. It has some, but it doesn't need it because the meat itself is so tender, real tender. So there was actually, and I said to them, okay, whatever your percentage of fat that you normally put into your ground beef, up mine. All right. So whatever it is, I want really fatty ground beef. And they said, okay. So they put it all into the ground beef. There was none left over. Yeah. Stone Creek. Yeah. So you need to send me something about that. Cherry almond glazed pork loin. Come on. Ooh, Mom Computer, pork, sauerkraut, and dumplings. Okay, I need recipes or experience something like that. Do like my friend did, and Elaine. I have the letter right over there, but she hand writes the recipes and sends them to me. So that's awesome. Really old school. Thank you very much. I will put them in my book. Yes, constant checking of freezers. Definitely. Yeah, because if they go out, man, that's a problem. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Mom Computer. Yeah, you can guarantee no nitrates, no pink. So any recipe that includes pink salt, you know, like potassium nitrate, any of the nitrate, no, none of that. Old school, just spices only. That's why we wanted to do it ourselves, because they're like, oh, do you want some of it made into bratwurst? And then we're like, okay, well, what kind of spice mix? It's just a standard. It's got, okay, what are the ingredients? Well, I don't really know. Well, okay, then it's full of MSG. We're for sure it's full of MSG, full of all kinds of other things that we don't need. And using that kind of method doesn't allow us to do it ourselves. So I assume, now I could be wrong, but because I've never done it, but what do you guys think? I assume that we can take some of the ground pork, because we have a lot of ground pork packages now, and somehow mix it with spices and then encase it, right? We can make our own bratwurst. Is that correct thinking or what? Because I've got like an old school KitchenAid, like a proper old school one, for like before they switched, the Hobart one. My uncle's big into that. And so we got a nice old school one. And so we can get an attachment. I'm sure that they make some kind of bratwurst stuffing attachment for those, right? And we could just do it that way. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling like. Ooh. Simplify gardening. I didn't even think about a power bank, but then you got to yeah, it's true. EcoFlow power bank to keep my freezers running if we have a power cut. They are brilliant and I use it for everything. Ooh, okay. I need to look into that a little bit more because my thought is, man, okay, so can you recharge it solarly or with the solar panels? I mean, even though it wouldn't work now, but my thing is, okay, you get the generator, and man, when I was in the mountains, I used to live my life by generators, and it is a real pain. It's like, oh yeah, we're off grid, but you've got like 3 diesel generators and 4 Honda EUs all over the place, and you're constantly, where's that gas tank? You're constantly taking your vehicles to go grab more gas and get gas tanks and stuff. The moment that the gas shuts down, you're in trouble. So and solar back then wasn't really much of anything. So I don't know how much further it's come, but we'll see. Um, so that's good. Yeah. So maybe we will talk about that as well. Maybe we'll talk about that as well a little bit. B. Hendricks, Nate's not afraid to ask for help. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, I mean, I feel like if you're a person that has learned a lot of things in life or that knows a lot of things, has been taught a lot of things because they're teachable. That they're not like, oh well, no, well, I already know. No, they're like, well, I don't know, so tell me about it. Especially if you know something about it, tell me and show me. And then you can like absorb all that stuff, so that, because we don't know now, but after doing it, we are gonna know, and then I'll be able to say. St. Max Media, what's up, my friend? It's been a while since I've seen that name here. Says best pork chops ever. Beat them well, roll in flour, then in beaten eggs with spices, then in breadcrumbs. Ooh. Fry. Now we got tons of lard. We do on that hog. There was lots of lard. I mean, we haven't even processed that one yet. We already had. I cook in lard all the time. I mean, huge amounts of lard because it's pastured, good quality pastured lard. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, guys, put them in the actual comments, please, because I can't, it's hard for me to like go back and pull out all these individual comments in here and stuff. Oh yeah. Okay, you be for sure to send that to me, Big Will Dog. I have a simple but flavorful teriyaki recipe that you already have most of the ingredients for. Slow roast pork belly. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Gloria Padilla says, Nate, I'm extremely hesitant to purchase pork from stores. I enjoy pork, but no longer purchase it or consume it. What is your take on store-bought pork? Now, well, if this tells you anything, I never purchase pork. I never eat up until now. I never, because my gut tells me, I've seen, you drive around here, we're in the Midwest, there's hog farms around here. And for miles before you reach these hog farms, just a putrid stench that just comes off these hog farms. Well, that's just natural hog farming. No, it's not supposed to be like that. And so, and I've seen the inside of them in other countries, not so much in this country, not the megalopolis, huge factory farms, but I've seen enough throughout the world to know that the industrial type hog farming is not what you want to be eating. It really isn't. And not only that, but here is the difference. Look this up, guys. Pastured pork, the lard from the pastured pork compared to conventional lard, when you render the two into tallow, let me see if I remember this right. Conventionally grown pork lard that doesn't receive sunlight and is factory farmed, basically, their lard will contain about 80 IU of vitamin D. Okay, the recommended daily allowance is 600 IU of vitamin D. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of conventional lard contains 80 IU of vitamin D. 1 tablespoon of pastured lard, where the hog has access to the sunlight and is eating more natural things, and it's mostly all about the sunlight. 1 tablespoon of that lard has 800 IU of vitamin D. Your whole daily value of more than a whole daily value of bioavailable form of vitamin D in 1 tablespoon. Think of that. That should tell you something, that it matters so much how things are raised. It matters everything, what the organism eats. It's the same with plants as well. What they are, it matters what they eat. It all matters. And so for that reason, now that I've seen these pastured hogs and I've seen wide open spaces, sunlight, or organic feed, yes, I will eat that. And butchered appropriately and fast at a local butcher, yes, I have no problem eating that. I don't believe that the hog is inherently is a nasty animal. It's the way that they're raised. Just like I don't eat conventionally grown vegetables at all. So, but I feast upon homegrown stuff because I know that it's raised in the right way. So if it is, I don't buy any pork from the store, and I don't like to eat anything with it, sausage, anything like that, full of nitrates, full of preservatives, all that garbage. I don't eat any of it. Nope. But this pastured log, we are going to grub, and we have been grubbing already on this thing. And it's a night and day difference. So it's the same with the beef. It's the same with the beef. That's why it's a 3-hour drive to Jerry's place, but I don't care because it is well worth it. You can't put a price tag on anything like that. So again, guys, if you're in anywhere within 3 or 4 hours of Indianapolis, make the drive. Or even one of you guys came from much further away, because you understand it's that important. So hit up Jerry Bates Family Farm at Yahoo. They might still have some spots available if you want the beef, but highly recommend it. Okay. So, oh man, Tony, you ain't kidding. Says editing is the one thing that slows me down. It takes so long. Yeah. Oh man, I could be pumping out the content if I just had like a crew following me around. I have all kinds of content ideas and, shot, what angles and how to cut it together and stuff, but you just don't have the time. You just can't do it. So it's like, I got tons of stock footage built up now that's old and just like irrelevant and stuff, but could have been super cool content. Just don't have the thing. Rick, yeah, I assume you're talking about the people from India. Oh, I totally get it. They're looking for work, of course, but it's not. I'm not going to be doing that. So I hope that I answered that, Gloria. I know that I'm way behind in the. I'm way behind in the chat. Sam Potzik, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says motivation reciprocation. Motivation reciprocation. Nice. Thank you, Nate. And for the OG stickers, which I will be sending you. Don't worry, my friend. Don't anybody worry about anything. Okay. Thank you very much. Definitely. Will Dog says you need salt, either sea salt or Himalayan pink salt to cure the pork. Of course, yes, but it's a nasty little trick that there is when you talk about food preservation. Pink salt is also potassium nitrate, also known as pink salt. I know, look it up. So it's butchers will use pink salt, and a lot of people think they're talking about Himalayan pink salt, and it's nothing. It's not even the same product. Christina Norad says from the first time I got pigs, we did our own butchering and I did all the cuts, so I really got what we needed per meals. Yes, I look forward. I will absolutely be doing that as well. Masabi Gal says Hobart made KitchenAid. Awesome. Yeah, so if you know, you know. Back when they were made the real deal. Okay, Mom Computer says KitchenAid does have an attachment for stuffing sausages. So is that what I need to do? So is my thought, I didn't read, but is that my thought process is right? I can just take the ground pork and mix it with stuff and then put it through the sausage stuffer? Because, man, I look forward to that. I look forward to that. Okay, so you can make your own. Are you talking about the sausages. Simplified Gardening says, yes, it comes with a 400-watt panel. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Looking forward to it. I'm so glad we're talking about it because I was close to buying a Honda EU 2000, which is great generators. Man, we lived on them things. And the 4,000 and the 6,000 and all that. And then we had big 70,000 watt diesel generators that consumed gallons and gallons of diesel every day. But those were for something else. But, oh man, see all you guys talking about great pork belly method, can smoke the belly first too. And I like to add maple syrup to the shake and bake. Guys, I need to get more of that. I need to get on more of that knowledge. Okay. Ooh, Megan McGuire says the KitchenAid attachment doesn't work well. Blood can get trapped in the KitchenAid mixer itself, and that will cause it to smell in time. I don't know. Well, I've got a KitchenAid already, so we're going to run with it. Thank you for that, though, because it sounds like you have experience with that. But fortunately, my uncle can just take it apart and fix it if need be. So, skinless brats, what are you talking about? For real? Let's see here. What are you talking about, Sam? I'm probably way behind in the chat, but I don't know because this thing is not. Anyways. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to. My power bank is Blue Eddy, 2,300 watts with electric fill up, but expandable. Additional future battery components and solar options. Steps towards energy independence. Yes. So I probably will look into that much more. Yeah. So let's see here. Brian Airy, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, let's see here. $5 via PayPal. Thank you. Says, Nate, look up Meredith Lee. Well worth it. Processing sausage and fermentation. Ooh, okay. Thank you. Meredith Lee, I'm going to read about that. Thank you for the contribution. And VA Green says, years ago, I worked on a hog farm set up by the University of Florida. 2,000 hogs, all on concrete. Yes. So I'm willing to bet you're not eating store-bought pork. Maybe you are, but probably not. Ms. P says, Granddad fried everything in lard, fished and hunted, smoked camels, and did not give a care what anyone thought and walked miles every day until 92. Yes. Yeah, it's but the smoking things in lard is actually, we say that now as if it's like, well, see, they did that and they're still alive. But that is actually a really beneficial thing. I mean, that's one of the reasons. Not the smoking the camels, of course, which we know now. But the frying in lard is wonderful for you. Yeah. And the most important thing is that he did not GAF what anyone thought and walked miles every day until age 92. One of the biggest things, and we talk about this kind of stuff on the Thrive channel, is one of the biggest things that matters is a person's state of mind. Is do they spend a predominant amount of time in the sympathetic nervous system or predominantly parasympathetic nervous system? So what are their thoughts? That dictates everything. And so even though they could live this hard, rough lifestyle, if they're calm and collected inside and their body is in a nice parasympathetic response most of the time, then their organs and all of the cortisol and the stress hormones and all of that kind of stuff are not going to be aging them nearly as fast. So even though they lived, what could be seen as relatively unhealthy, they lived a long time because they were primarily in that parasympathetic response. So let's see. Gary Smith, thank you very much, my friend. $25 via PayPal. Thank you. Says, keep up the great work. Absolutely. You can count on it. We will be keeping it up. Thank you. Mo says, I'm from the Midwest too and didn't eat pork for a year after learning all about the industrial U.S. pork, which made me really sad since pork is big in my culture. Happy to support farmers with same ideals. Absolutely. Yes. It all has to do with how it's raised. Graham, what's up, my friend? Says, I wouldn't touch pork from the shops here in Ireland. It doesn't agree with my stomach as I didn't eat it for months, then tried it again. Not good. And Ireland is one of the biggest exporters of pork. Wow. I'm willing to bet those are not pastured, like pastured, organically raised pork. Probably what we would call industrial. Yeah. Ooh, Gloria Padilla, $5 super sticker. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Ooh, look at nature. I made my sticker magnetize. I'm going to get magnets, definitely. Says, thank you for confirming my gut hesitancy on buying store-bought pork. Absolutely, guys. And the more that you become in tune with listening to that, the more you'll be able to do that in life, to just say, okay, well, that doesn't feel right. That just doesn't feel right. What are your thoughts on that? And then I could say that and it confirms, okay, yes. See, I knew that I felt a certain way. Tammy Ferry says, turning my compost listening to you. I do the 18-day, which requires a every other day turn. Yeah, I've done that before with the right ingredients. It is a lot of work, no doubt, every other day turn. Now, here, the piles don't heat up fast enough. Like every other day is a lot. If you chop the ingredients, it can work, definitely. Yes. VA Green says he would have loved some LED lighting back in the day, wouldn't you? Oh my goodness. They've come so far in that stuff. Oh, them 1700 watt Gavita Pros now. Back then we had or the Gavita Pro 1700, not 1700 watts. Back then we were using a light, we only did things by 1000-watt high pressure sodium. And so how many lights? Oh, we got 40 lights, or oh, that one's got 200 lights. They're talking 1000 watts each. Just cooking things, just the heat of the sun. And then you had to air condition and vent all that stuff. Oh my goodness. And now they got these nice cool running LEDs that are sipping on energy, just like, oh man. You can program it so that it turns on, it gently wakes up the plants, gently turns on, slowly starts the day, and then it fades off slowly at night to mimic the natural cycles. We didn't have all that stuff. We had, you flip on the lights, and then they heat up and everything underneath just starts cooking hot, just under butterfly hoods, 1000-watt, one after the other. Just everything's roasting under them. But man, them plants, if you give it everything they need, they love that stuff. Towards the end, I was familiar with the LEDs, but the game was changing a lot at that point. Yeah, Sam Potzik, pampered plants nowadays. Okay, I think I just caught up to the chat. Christina Norad says, Nate, make round roasts into jerky. I thought about that, but then I was like, is it just going to be like chewing on boot leather? Because it's so tough. So I don't know exactly. Ooh, look to nature says your smoked poblanos and a dash of maple sugar on some chops. Yes. Whoops. Let's see here. Okay, thank you. Argo Bargo says, I'll drop solar ideas in the Discord. Good. Thank you. Let's see. From dentist to farmer, this is a golden statement. Ooh, yes. What are you talking about? I forget it. I forget what we were talking about when you said the golden statement. But so guys, I wanted to show you something just real quick, or a couple of things, because Christmas is sort of coming up and whatever. But so I've got all these different fermentation lids, and the ones, these pop top ones like this work good. These work good, no doubt. But ones that I'm finding that I like the best are these ones with the adjustable date on them, because then it's like you don't have to use them, or you don't have to label your stuff when you only need it to ferment for 3 days or 3 weeks. You just take this and you move it to the day that it is and put it onto your thing. So I'm really liking these. They're probably in the Viking Amazon storefront, so you can use those. If you guys, you can get those for people if they like fermenting. If you guys like to do sprouts, which all of you should be doing sprouts this winter, alfalfa sprouts are number one. This company turned out to be really good. All right, these turned out to be great, and they are in the Viking storefront. So these things are a nice 316 stainless steel. They do not rust, and I was amazed by that claim, but they really don't rust. I've used them for a couple years now, and I like these a lot for sprouting. And you can turn any jar into a sprouter. So they're relatively inexpensive for what they are. I think they come in sets of 2. Well worth it. They'd make a great gift for people. Another thing that would make a great gift. I don't know how, but because I was looking at my shoes. So footwear is super important to me, and so the when I was in Northern California, I used to want everyone there wears like logging boots, and so I spent these boots here. These are the Hawthorne Explorers. Okay, these were $450 where I bought them. Okay, which was inflated price in Garberville, of course, but everyone was wearing these, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna get a pair. These are awesome. So I started wearing them, and these things, I got a size 12 foot, 12 wide, and these things are like 5 pounds each. And then put on top of that some mud, and you're just like, you're like, these things are laced up to your shin, up to your knee almost, and you're like lugging these things around, and they take forever to break in. This is my second pair, actually. It's crazy, but these I never really ended up using, this pair. So they just sit there up there because I found the ultimate boots. And I was searching. I got so many different pairs of boots because footwear is super important to me. And so I settled on the 511 boots. Guys, if you have anyone in your life that likes boots or likes good footwear, now this pair here is feather light. I can't explain to you. This is the weight of a running shoe. It is feather light, okay? I broke these pair. I put this pair on and walked a half marathon last year, okay? This is the 511, 5.11 is the company, ATAC 2.0 Arid, okay? And they're side zip. So once you lace them up to your proper, you just zip in and out of them. It's super easy. Zip in and out, boom. Put them on, zip them up, and you're good to go. These things my feet don't sweat in it. My goodness. When I was wearing these things, my feet were just dripping wet. They're disgusting. These kind of things are a nightmare compared to these nice, lightweight, agile. These are more like moccasins, which is awesome. Okay. So if you guys are all about being outside, or if any of you guys have anyone in your life that would appreciate them, get them for them. They have wides as well. These are 12 wides because my foot's very wide. And so I can't recommend it highly enough. Forget about old, heavy work boots like this. And people are like, well, but they're more supportive. No, they're not. These are super supportive, guys. Okay. And here's my pair after, here's the pair that I've been wearing for like 2 years now. You see, they break down, but they're so soft and fluffy and like supple. You can kneel down in them. They're like a moccasin, except very, very supportive. So highly recommend those, guys. Forget about them old, heavy steel, work boots and stuff, unless you need the steel-toed for something. But yes. 511s. Teets says, I wear 511s at my construction job. Great, other than they are all about the police. I know, yeah, I know. They are. But Simplified Gardening says, a good pair of boots is a must when gardening. Definitely, guys. Definitely. And you can't go wrong. I mean, with something that is so breathable, and which is important. I wear these in the middle of summer, no problem at all, okay? So check those out for people, all right? Another thing that Another thing, if you guys are looking for it, these are for indoor, okay? These are literally feather light. They're made of rope. And so check them out. They're Nomadic State of Mind. Go to that website. I'm not sponsored by any of this stuff. I'm doing this just because I want you guys to have quality stuff. Nomadic State of Mind, okay? And these are the JC sandals, okay? I think it's a play on Jesus Christ sandals or something like that. But they call them the JC sandals. And so they're super feather light, slip on and off. They've got some of them that have a sole. You can have a sole put on them. So that's also good. But I wear these around the house. And so they slide on and off. And they are literally, you don't even feel like you're wearing anything. They're just amazing. So they're real, tick, 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 tick. They're real light. You can be light and nimble in them. Thank you very much, Ms. P. $5 says, bless your food, season it with gratitude. I like that. And we do, definitely. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for the contribution. Sylvia says, what's a good grade shoes for women? Actually, Camille, who is my girlfriend, she got we went down to the 511 store when we were going to see Jerry, the beef farmer, and we stopped at the 511 store on the way and got a pair of their women's combat boots. And now they only have them in black for women. They don't have desert tan. They only have them in black, but they're the same super lightweight kind of thing. And she is blown away. She literally wants another pair right away. And she says they're so lightweight and they're so comfortable and they're so supportive, because she's never had like real good footwear like that. She had like good tennis shoe type footwear, but a combat boot is totally game changing. Yeah, I know. See, there you go. There you go. See? Oh, garden shoes. Well, those boots, yeah, definitely. So, but the garden shoes, bare feet. I'm bare feet in the garden all the time. But these definitely work, especially if you want to get one with a sole, or these will work just fine. This rope, as long as you're not doing it on the concrete or the asphalt, everything is good. Yeah, I know. VA Green. Yes. When is Camille going to do a special guest appearance? Yes. Before long. Yeah, before long. Probably first on the Thrive channel, though, because that's more her area than here. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Waterproof boots. Danner. Danner makes some really good waterproof boots. Okay. Okay, guys. So we got to get moving on. So it's been, the time is up. All right. So thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. And remember, next week is going to be special live appearance with Tony from Simplified Gardening. And let me know, put in the comments of here what kind of things you would like us to talk about. But I definitely think it's going to be composting. I think it's going to be maybe solar generator backups for your freezers and stuff. Maybe some book writing things that will be more for my personal understanding. And then we got to get into potatoes somehow, for sure, just because he's the original potato person. So let us know. We look forward to it. We're all about collaborations and stuff, sharing the knowledge. So we will see you guys. Pepper Gardner says, looking forward to watching this later, out in the woods. Opening day here in Wisconsin for deer. Nice. What are you hunting with? What are you hunting with? So yes, remember, thank you, Stargazing Dragon says, remember to like the video. Yes, guys, like the video, share the videos, all that kind of stuff. Barbara, 511 makes a 7.5 men's. I'm so happy. Oh, wow. They also make women's, though. They also make women's. 30-06. Nice. Okay, yes. So, okay, guys. Stone Creek, water systems, predators, infrastructure, rain catchment. Ooh, those are all things we can talk about. Yes, definitely. Ooh, yeah, Tsunami Tommy, like some content on what's growing in your grow tent. We haven't fired that up yet. We will be firing up the grow tent soon, and primarily because we just finished growing the mushrooms in the grow tent and the oysters, and so there will be a video on that stuff coming soon. But we will definitely, and also the videos coming soon on how to do the log inoculation. We did that with Jerry last week. Now this upcoming week, once the plug spawn gets here, we're going to finish that video. So at the Viking North plot, we're going to inoculate some more logs with shiitake and lion's mane. And there might be another kind, I think, that they're sending me. So we'll see. But we will make a video on that, and you guys can do the same thing. Yes? Because once you inoculate the logs, then they will fruit for several years. All right? And okay, I think that's everything. So thank you guys very much. We'll see you right here next week, and we'll see the Thrive Tribe Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Nice.